What's up, kayak family? My name's Wesley Littlefield, the Kayak Kid, and today I'm giving you a walkthrough of my Nucanoe Frontier 12 Unlimited, but I have it rigged for duck hunting. So if you're a hunter, especially a duck hunter, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Okay, so let's start at the front. I have lights rigged up, that way when I'm running at night, or early morning, or coming back from a late evening hunt, I've got lights rigged up. I've got my red and green strips, LEDs here. The battery is actually in here. If I pull up, of course, the essentials in here. Gotta have that. Got an anchor, got another brush grabber, my depth finder. I don't really use that for duck hunting. Then I've also got a mud motor, so I've got spare fuses if I need them. Got a spare spark plug if I need it. And then of course, a little multi-tool in here in case I need it, as well as a wrench for my spark plug. There's my battery that I keep for my lights and everything. Okay, let's move on down a little bit. I like to keep it wide open. Number one, I usually got my dog with me. Right there, he ain't paying attention, just eating grass, being a goofer. So I usually got him up front here when we're running, but I will keep my shotgun right here, strapped down, of course. Back one, great. And then I've got my lights, switches here. Flip them up, they're on. Flip them down, they're off. I like these because when they're on, they actually light up, so you can actually tell that, hey, it's on. Turn it off, dummy. Next, you see that I don't have my regular seat up here. I've got a 360 for it. I don't use it for hunting unless I'm just like using this to get to a place, then I'll throw it on there. But typically I run this bench seat, and you'll see why here in a minute. As far as the back goes, you'll see that I keep it pretty much wide open. I do have this little fancy accessory, whatever mount that you want to call it. That is for my mud motor, and you'll see that mounted here in a second, how I do all that. But now that's the first layer. Now I'm going to show you what I do with the next layer. So when I plan to use my kayak as a layout boat, I put in my hardcore run and gun bag that actually is like really, it's my favorite layout blind that I've had because it's just so low profile, very compact, easy to use. And then on top of that, you can carry decoys in it when you're not using it as a layout blind. So I really love that. This is just the bottom part, the bag part, not the actual blanket part of it. But I'll throw this down just like that in my kayak. And that way I actually can sit up and not be all awkward feeling and everything. I haven't seen anything else that actually fits this, the Nucanoe Frontier 12 like this does. And I just got lucky because I had these laying around. I thought, I'll try it one day, and it works perfectly. I mean, I don't know what else I could do in order to get what I really want to feel comfortable laying down like that, especially with my bench seat. Because the reason I don't run a 360 is because it just sets up too high in my blind, which we're going to see next. Here's my blind. This is actually the Nucanoe Frontier 12 blind I bought from Nucanoe's website. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of it. There's a lot of stuff, several things that I'd change, and if you want to see that, I'll leave the video at the end of this video that you can check out. But this is what it looks like on my Frontier 12. There's obviously, I don't have it brushed in for the season yet. There's a few things that I don't like I mentioned, but for my style of hunting, when I'm using my mud motor, first of all, I've got to figure out a way to attach it here, and then, you know, they've got a spot back here for my dog, but all my weight is too far in the rear when I'm traveling. Now obviously I want him back behind me when we're hunting, and that worked really well. I was really impressed with that. as far as keeping him in there, keeping him out away from the shot, everything. I like having him back behind me. And plus, as you know, on a Frontier 12, the drain holes are right there, so he's setting down and the water is from him is actually draining out. So I really liked that about it. But this is what it looks like. Almost decked out. I've got one more step that I do, and that is put the mud motor on my kayak. There it is. I've got my mud motor mounted to my kayak. Now, this is the problem. I still haven't found a great solution for it, but I can't, now that I have it mounted here, I can't actually pull my blind all the way over it. And on top of that, if I'm going to a place and using my kayak as a layout blind, which I would with my blind on, I typically don't have anywhere to take this off and put it, so I have to leave it on. Now, I went teal hunting a little bit with it, and all I did with that was literally just pulled the blind back, tucked it down underneath it like so, put the blind back over the top of it, if I can do it one-handed, like that. And for teal, they didn't care. And, you know, I could actually get taller grass and everything and cover this area pretty well, and put some grass in here to break it up a little bit. And I killed almost a limit of teal with it. If you want to see that video, I'll link it right here in the video as well, and in the description. But I think for big ducks, that's just not gonna work. It looks too weird, looks too unnatural. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with that. If you have any ideas about how to fix that, I would greatly appreciate comments down below to give me any ideas on fixing that problem. But this is it, decked out. You know, I try to keep it simple when I'm bringing decoys. Obviously I'm bringing decoys, but I try to keep it as minimal as possible. So I'll either bring 2 dozen teal decoys if I want a bigger spread, or I'll bring just a dozen mallards. And I mean, you know, you don't have that much space here, so I've got to utilize it the best I can, especially if I'm bringing my dog. I mean, there's not a lot of room for him and decoys and a bag and everything else, so I tend to, you know, stick to as minimal as possible. But that's it. Now I'm going to show you guys just a little bit of fun playing in the pond here. It ain't the most ideal location for the mud motor, but we're going to go play around in the water for a little bit. One thing, forgot to mention that I always bring, no matter what kayaking adventure I'm going on, that's my paddle. I always bring a paddle, even if I've got a motor on the back, because I've had the motor break down on me before. Thank goodness I had a paddle to get back. So I always bring a paddle. I've actually got paddle straps on the side where I keep it sometimes, or I'll just throw it in the boat, because with this motor sometimes it'll catch, and I've actually had it spin me around weird. So from now on, I've been actually putting it in the boat when we travel, and then getting it out if I need it. But there's Shadow. He's having all kinds of fun. He's hot. It's kind of warm outside today. It's like October 2nd, October 3rd. Here in Oklahoma, it's still hot. But enough of me talking. Let's get to playing around with the motor, making sure it's running good for the season. as you noticed, I took the layout cover off of it because I didn't want to get it soaking wet and deal with all that today. But the motor's running good. If you want an in-depth review on the motor, I've got a link in the description below you can check out. And other than that, I mean, if you've got any questions about kayak duck hunting, leave them down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me, and it encourages me to keep making more content like this. So, as always, I want you guys to go and live your own adventure.